Alright, yeah, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today we're going to be playing some Standard 2022 with a list that's actually kind of already established as, I guess, one of the better decks in the format. I'm really not sure what the top tier is at the moment. I know, like, Mono Green Stompy is, and Is It Dragons, and then after that it's a little bit of a blur. There's a lot of things in that place. It's like Black-White Control, Mono-Black Control, all of that kind of stuff. But today we're going to be playing Temur Ramp with your big boy Serpentine scaly thing, Koma the Cosmos Serpent as our top end finisher. 3 double green, double blue for a 6/6 that cannot be countered, and then at the beginning of each upkeep, create a 3/3 blue serpent creature token named Koma's Coil. You sacrifice that serpent if you really want to, and you get access to two options. You can either tap permanents, and their activated abilities can't be activated, or you can give Koma Indestructible, which makes it an absolute nightmare to get rid of, short of exile-based removal. So the rest of the deck's kind of all about finishing with very large things. Koma is not the only win condition of this deck. We do also have a fair few others. We've got Alrund's Epiphany, a card that I have long thought should be banned in Standard 2022, but maybe we just let it play out until rotation comes around. Since it's not that far away, maybe Alrund's Epiphany kind of falls out of favor. Somehow I doubt it, but yeah, this card is actually really just absurd. You can foretell it for 2 mana, so that you can play it for 6 mana down the line, and it creates you 2 blue creature tokens with flying, 2 1/1s, and then you get an extra turn, but you do exile the Alrund's Epiphany, thank God for that. But that means you get extra upkeeps with your Koma, you get extra attacks, and get to do a lot of nonsense there. We also have Magma Opus, which does 2 things. In the early game, we can discard it for hybrid red or blue, and twice, to discard it and create a treasure token. So that allows us to ramp into a lot of our 3-drops. We have a quite heavy 3-drop slot. And if we get to the late game with it, then it becomes a threat that can win us the game or draw threats for us to win the game. We will just bury our opponent with value if we get to the late game, and this is part of the reason why. It deals 4 damage divided as you choose among any number of targets, face, creatures, planeswalkers, and so on. You can tap 2 permanents, you can create a blue and red elemental creature token, and then you draw 2 cards. And all of this can be done at instant speed. This card, I love it so much. It is absurd though. It needed standard really to really show how broken it is, because it certainly isn't as much, I guess, in historic, though the discarding is really where it's actually broken. I'm sure many cards could do that all the same. It's not the only win con though, because we do also have a learn package. Field Trip is a learn card that gets us a forest and puts it onto the battlefield, so it plays into our ramping kind of strategy. Divide by 0 is kind of like a little bit of a remand. Returns a spell or permanent with mana value 1 or greater to its owner's hand, and then you learn as well, so we go into the sideboard, and we'll get to what the sideboard is in a second. We also have Prismari Command. This can be a ramp spell, removal spell, card draw spell, or artifact destruction spell. It's very versatile. It's probably my favourite Strixhaven card. As most of you are probably aware, when Strixhaven came around, it was basically in every single deck I built, which is no coincidence, because I love it. But yeah, the learn side of things, we do have our win cons in here. 3 copies of Mascot Exhibition, 7 mana sorcery to create a 2/1 flyer, a 3/2 spirit, and a 4/4 elemental creature. For 7 mana, that's pretty good, and we can get multiples as well. In the early game, our learn cards might get us environmental sciences, because it is important for us to make our land drops all the way up the curve. So if we go from 3 to 4, we do want to get to 5, so we can then go for Battle of Frost and Fire, one of the main reasons why we're in red. And this allows us to sweep the board, dealing 4 damage to each non-giant creature and each planeswalker. This card was actually slept on for the longest time. When Giants came around, even then it wasn't like the best sweeper spell anyway, because you had Realm Cloak Giant in Old Standard, and I think that's generally just the better sweeper out of a Giant Synergy Tribal, but yeah, you didn't really see it in any kind of non-giant deck anyway, up until very recently. In fact, we even up until very recently had Cyclone Summoner as an option, but really just, I don't know. doesn't quite slot into the list here, I don't think so. We're going to go with Battle of Frost and Fire, which plays on curve, allows us to scry 3 on the chapter 3, and then the chapter 2, and the chapter 3 allows us to gain card draw off of our win cons, essentially. So as we're playing our Komas and our Alrun's Epiphanies, we're going to draw 2 and discard a card, so we get to find all of the wonderful, juicy pieces of tech. I think that's basically all I really need to say on this one. We got a little bit of ramp, a little bit of card advantage. This is probably the best card draw spell in Standard 2022 right now. But we don't particularly need it all too much, which is why it's a 3 of. A little bit of removal in the mana base with Shatterskull's Smashing. We actually have 23 lands, 25 with the Shatterskull Smashing, plus the 4 on the Florahedron that can be a land, or it could be a mana dork down the line. You got to pay attention to how many creatures you put on board, because the Battle of Frost and Fire does hit all of our early game, our Cultivators and our Florahedrons. But usually if you're playing this, it's for a good reason, so usually it doesn't pay. It doesn't hurt you that much. I have got a 1 of Imarith Desert Doom in here as an additional win con. I just kind of want to play around with it a little bit. I've never really played this card too much. It's a 5 mana 5/5 with flying. Has Ward 4 as long as it's untapped, so spells are countered unless your opponents pay 4, as long as we're not attacking with it, so it can be a really decent blocker. And when it deals combat damage to a player, we get to draw a card, but if we've got fewer than 3 cards in hand, then we draw equal to the difference, which is really nice. That'll allow us to get back in the game as well, so it's similar to like a Magma Opus in that kind of refilling our hand kind of way. It's the reason why I'm running it, to be honest. If we're empty-handed, Imarith is the best top deck we could have, I guess, short of Koma, but even then, there's a risk of our opponent killing Koma before we get a coil to defend it. But yeah, that's the list. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video, and if you do, really appreciate if you do hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this in the future, and without further ado, let's continue. This video is brought to you by the generous support of our wonderful patrons and channel members that you see here. If you'd like to support the channel and get access to cool content like sneak peeks, bonus videos, polls on future content, or access to a personal deck critique from myself every month, then hit the join button down below, or check out the Patreon link in the description. With all that said, let's get into the gameplay. Alrighty then, on the play, with some iterations. We can play those on 3. And then do the Epiphany for telling, maybe, I guess? I don't know. With the field trip, it's hard to say, but I guess this hand works. Does need to find a sweeper at some point, which we can get off the iterations, no doubt. Let's pretend to be... without snow mana, there's not too much we can pretend to be, so let's just throw down the mountain. Like, if I was to go, is it, then they would know I wasn't dragons by the fact that I wasn't running snow mana. So it's kind of a thing. Okay, Lair of the Hydra, that's usually mono green. So yeah, I think I'm just going to foretell and then pass the turn. It's hard to say whether or not I want a field trip or iteration. I guess without anything to play... Oh, the Gruul? Highland Forest. Maybe like a Bard class Legends list. Oh, well now we've got a thing to ramp into. Do I want to actually make that a reality with the field trip then? And then grab a basic forest. We'd get to learn. So we could grab... We don't really need environmental sciences. I kind of feel like we just go with the iteration. If we have a land on one of our 3 cards, we can play it this turn. So, into hand, we now have our sweeper. Then this one goes on the bottom, and then we play this one tapped, because we've got nothing to do with it. And got our campus now, so that gives us something to do if we've got nothing to do. Simply put. There's a Faceless Haven and a Magda. Yeah, I don't know what to make of this. It kind of feels like it's a Bard class kind of deck. Cultivator's not bad, actually. That allows us to block Faceless Haven and Magda, while also ramping towards our Koma, setting up our Battle of Frost and Fire if we feel we need to use it. We're going to go with Doesn't really matter, I don't think, so let's just grab a forest. Pretty solid value on the cultivator, considering it gives you an untapped land. A Seeker's Chariot. Alright, so like here, what we could actually do is just Battle of Frost and Fire, sweep the board. We lose our cultivator in the process. But we can also potentially... Oops, this was a bad attack. Be a shame if you crewed up your chariot to kill it. It's worth a shot, right? Alright, fine. Put you on blue. And are we going with the Battle of Frost and Fire then? Actually, maybe we just... Epiphany, go again. Just get towards our Koma a little quicker. They can do their crewing stuff, but they don't want to do it until the end of their turn. Alright. So I'm going to get in with my cultivator and my tokens. Now that we've taken the extra turn, that means we can slam down Koma. And short of them having double Frostbite, I think he's fairly safe. As he is. So here comes a tap, which makes the treasure. Yeah, they're certainly playing around sweepers or creature removal by not going in with the chariot to block the cultivator. They know it's a thing they have to play around. So we can protect against double burn if we feel like that's going to be a thing. We can also tap the chariot if they go to crew. Levels up the ranger class. Now they can't kill... Oh, actually, no. They've got treasures. Never mind. They could still do the double frostbite. They're not crewing up the chariot, so I'm not going to do anything here. I am totally okay with all of this. So, more Koma tokens, please. I was thinking real hard on this one. Alright. So, let's go with... I think it's either lead with iteration or field trip here. If I went with iteration, I could get like a divide by 0 to protect my board a little bit more. Could we also... This would leave me with 6 mana, not 7, so I couldn't get an Alrund's Epiphany right off the bat. I think I'm going to go with the iteration, though, before I go for combat, just to get a better idea of what we're working with. Hopefully make our land drops as well. Don't particularly need our land drops anymore, but... Alright, so that's the card I wanted in my hand. I actually just, like, bottom the pathway and go for the cultivator. Our board state is nice and tasty already, so... Let's go to combat. Swing, 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 swing. Swing? No, I think I'll leave the Serpent Protection a little bit. I don't need to get as greedy as that. Opponent's in a horrible position. Like, they get a good double block on the cultivator, and then we can divide by 0 to kind of blow it out. And then the rest just ends up being loads of chump blocks and stuff. It's quite wonderful. Oh, no, never mind. That's not how that works. Alright. It's 1 or greater. You can't touch tokens with it. Why would they want to crew up? Just to use the token, I guess? Which is fine. This just feels so, like, punishable if I just decided to give Koma indestructible and went with Battle of Frost and Fire. I'm trying to think why I wouldn't just do that. Seems reasonable. I've got double protection, then on their upkeep I get another token as well. So, gain indestructible. Now it's indestructible. I'm going to full control so I can respond to this trigger just in case I need to. With an extra tap to go after their land or something like that. Like, I'm losing a few things here. Don't get me wrong, but I'm taking out a Chariot, I'm taking out a Magda, taking out tokens. So I might as well just go... tap this permanent. Sack that. Do your thing. Sweep the board. Play a Florahedron land. And I guess this is punishable by the double frostbite, so maybe that's... well, it's not a problem. Alright. Gnarled Professor, don't care. Putting our opponent to 1 at this rate. Introduction to Annihilation. Alright, so that's going to deal with the Koma. That I do care about. We have a Scry 3. And we can start getting mascot exhibitions with our learn cards. I can also just divide by 0 the introduction to Annihilation. I feel like that would do an adequate amount of damage to our opponent to make them leave. Oh, would you look at that? Imarith. Do love me an Imarith. Alright, so we're gonna set that on top. That's a nice little finisher. We can't use Field Trip because it'll shuffle it then. But we can still use the Divide by 0. And it'll also draw us some cards with the Chapter 3 of the Battle of Frost and Fire, which is nice. So let's swing in for 6. I'm going to try not to need to use the Divide by 0. Because I'm going to want to use it on the Annihilation instead. Which will tap our opponent out. Frostbite. Indestructible. Okay, so the Professor's dead. Got 9 points on board. We've got an Imarith on the way. We've got a Divide by 0, which is our opponent's entire next turn. Set up and ready to go. Might as well just put another point on board, I think, with a Tangled Florahedron. Opponent's having a great time. I'm glad. Party on, dude. They're gonna be really upset. I'll just hold this here where it's going to be in just a matter of seconds. There it is. Oh, it went back. Dang it. Alright, so put that back in their hand. And yep, that'll do it. Yeah, I don't know. Questionable on the Battle of Frost and Fire turn for sure. It worked out, so feel a little bit validated by it, but maybe it wasn't necessary. It certainly allowed me to scry into an Imarith, so I had that kind of certainty and inevitability, I guess. And everything else just kind of came into place. It's a pretty good deck as this one, so, you know, it should be able to win through mistakes. Hopefully I've not quite proved that point, but maybe made an example. Anyway, next game. Oh, interesting. This hand is close to keepable. With the Magma Opus, I can play my 3 drops, and I can do some foretelling. It's a sketchy keep. We're going to say hello to Riley Knight, a fellow streamer and Magic commentator. See what he's playing. Alright. What you got, opponent? Hall of the Storm Giants. We got our land as well, so that's pretty useful. I should have noted as well that I actually can't discard my Magma Opus because I need either double blue, double red, or a mix of both. And until I had this pathway, I didn't have that. Druid class. Okay. So we're going to play a mountain. And I think we're just going to pass with Divide by Zero and Prismari command available. Not sure which one we'll use just yet. Druid class, for those who are curious, allows you to play additional lands and gain life off of all that stuff. Search your library for a basic land card and put it into your hand. If they're doing that, I feel like this is worth my time. Just a little bit of a tempo swing, maybe. And we're going to go with, I think, Environmental Sciences, just to make sure that we're keeping the ball rolling on our ramp. They did have another land, but it was a Seagate Reborn, which says to me that's the only land. Alright, so let's go Environmental Sciences. Gonna grab, I think, another green. I don't really need double red. And to be honest, I think it's a tap land here. Gives our opponent extra information they might not have otherwise needed, but that tap land's going to be a tap land for the rest of the game, so I might as well just play it now where it's in its most efficient form, I guess. Then I can go Cultivator and Foretell. Interesting set of cards. I don't know if I know the list, to be honest. Alright, this gets them their basic land. I like to think we've set them back a fair bit, and this life total, not going to be too problematic for us. So that's a Zimone. Helps you ramp, which could be the reason why I kill it. I think I probably do kill it. If I went with the iteration first, I need a red land specifically, otherwise I can't. This doesn't get me a red land. It gives me an island. So I guess I could do what? This. I think I got more blue than red, so let's get the blue. And then foretell another card. So giving our opponent a Zimone's kind of annoying, but the way they've been playing suggests that they don't have extra lands in their hand unless they're top decking them, so I don't think the first ability matters. And then the other one needs 8 lands in play, and I think that's also not exactly likely to happen. It's got a Boulderloft Pathway. So the release Bant. This could be like Felidar Retreat then. Goes quite well with landfall. And the holding open mana. Any reason to pre-combat iteration? I could find a Divide by Zero. I feel like Prismari command would get the job done equally as much though. Let's go to combat first. Our foretold cards work with Divide by Zero, actually, because it says return to hand, but they're being played from exile. Usually when that occurs, the card ends up being completely exiled. So I'm going to take the field trip. Gonna bottom... Doesn't really matter which one, really, I don't think. Bottom this one. Top this one. Play this on red. Field trip it up. grab a forest, and I think we're just on mascot exhibitions now. Pass the turn. Can start animating the Hall of the Storm Giants. Might be an option. Eureka Moment. Draw 2 and ramp. I wonder if that's a card that should be in this list. I don't think you see it in many of the top tier lists, so I'm sure we've probably already decided it's just not efficient enough. I don't think I'm ever going to be discarding this, because I can cast it. And that should be enough value to kind of grind out our opponent. This needs full Wooburg, so they need to get like the World Tree. That's really not good for us. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, that's really not good for us. I need a divide by 0, I guess, at this stage. Makes my Epiphanies not great either, because it triggers on my upkeep. Although, if I went 1, 2, 3, make a treasure, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, just a little short on that, unfortunately. Put this on blue. What am I gonna do about you now that you've got a token? What about going for my own Koma? Let's go digging. Oof. So hand 3, 6. Just played my land. So bottom iteration, take the turn off of that to do iteration instead and spin the wheel again. Hand. I'm probably going to want this, and I can't cast it now, so let's bottom that, put that there. And foretell this, I guess. Super awkward. Land into hand. Oh, they don't have one. Gonna not tap my cultivator, fair enough. Didn't think it was correct to do that, to be fair. Druid class. And there's the World Tree. So now they have full 5-color mana. So they can gain 2 life, draw 2, make me lose 2, deal 2 to a creature, create a bear. It's just word soup. Take 6. Guess that would not be ideal if they had more Epiphanies, but we'll see. I mean, here comes Koma. Do they have, like, divide by 0? I can't really get ahead of them if the board state continues growing the way that it is. But at least now I can chain 3 Epiphanies together and see where we go from there. Maybe, anyway. Now they're drawing 2 with Zimone. Okay. Lots of coils for them. Gain a bit of life. That life total's now getting a little bit relevant because, of course, I do need to kill them, and I'm probably going to need to kill them with these 3 extra turn spells. So the more life they gain, and they're gaining a lot, the worse it gets for me. Got a mountain. The third level of this one makes them a big, huge... Is it an elemental? Creature with haste. Is it not getting a creature type? Odd. Alright. Extra land drop. There it is. Gain 2. And what am I doing here? I think I'm letting them go to combat. And they're passing. Alright, so this is where hopefully some interesting things can occur. So I guess we're going to start with Alrund's Epiphany. Gonna tap out. We are then going to... play a land, go to combat. I think I'm tapping Koma with my Summoning Sick token, so I need to do this. No, I just need to get in with my 1 Koma. Tap Koma with this one. So now if they want to block Komas, they have to, like, you know, do some blocking. That's maybe not just as simple as a 6/6 on a 6/6. Can't activate Koma because I've tapped it. So I'm going to gain Indestructible. And gonna Field Trip, I think. Only got 1 basic left. Another mascot exhibition. Ooh, Battle of Frost and Fire. Right, let's gain Indestructible. Try and whittle the numbers down a little bit. Then we're going to take another turn. This evens things up a little bit, for sure. So they're going to go and gain Indestructible. I'm wondering if this actually lets me, on my next turn, kill Koma with Magma Opus and Prismari Command. So that would be 6 damage. So Magma Opus, 4 damage. Yeah, 4 damage. Tap 2 permanents. And do all of that. Yes, yes. 2 damage, draw 2, discard 2. Actually, I should have made treasure. Discard. Discard? No, discard. Alright, Koma's down. We've got all the tools we need to win. We want more tools to win. So bottom all those. Swing. Down to 23. Alright. Start making some coils. And I feel now that we're the only one with the Koma and we've got extra turns, and we're drawing off of Battle of Frost and Fire with our first turn, we should have this in the bag, right? I'm sure it could easily go horribly wrong, but we don't want to think about that. Yeah, it was all about trying to set up a turn where we could Opus and Command kill the Koma. It's the only way it was going to work, and they couldn't have any coils as well, so it was all about trying to get their coils down as low as possible, so the Battle of Frost and Fire was really useful at getting that done. They're going to Wish. Ooh. Well, that could be very bad. What could they be wishing for? Maybe their own Battle of Frost and Fire? Exile base removal? Yeah, that would do it. That's okay, though. With our hand and board state, I think we don't need to care too much about Koma. This is going to gain him a bit of life. Up to 27. Got Shatterskull Smashing. So this leaves me with 4/6 mana. So we're gonna Alrund's Epiphany. Draw 2, discard Field Trip, because it can't fetch me anything anymore. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Mascot Exhibition. Get rid of Florahedron. Swing with everyone. My turn. Extra turn. Cultivator. And swing again. Wow. Woo! That could have gone either way. It was very close. Seems as though the Wish board couldn't quite find the sweeper, though. Maybe that's something that needed to be there, I don't know, but either way, sweet deck from our opponent, for sure. Did a lot, but yeah, extra turn spells apparently do it. Next game. Alrighty then, on the play. This hand is expensive. I honestly feel like I could do better. There's no actual ramp in it either. So I think we're going to shove that one on back. This one's so awkward as well. I guess because this is our only green source, it's going to be a land rather than a creature. So the Battle of Frost and Fire is where we're going to be wanting to go. We can't play the Expressive Iteration until turn 3, though, if I do that. And I have to play my land first. Again, it's so awkward. I think I'll just go Shatterskull Smashing to the bottom then. What about Hall first? If I played Tangled Florahedron, I'm opening up Florahedron as my only draw that matters. Whereas if I draw a forest, I can play the Florahedron. I guess that means Hall. I'm not sure I'm going to wait on more than one draw, though, to make my mind up. But, yeah, there you go. Rewarded. Now I'm a turn ahead. I don't have the red mana, though, so I still can't really play Iteration as my turn here, because you always want to open up the chance of making a land drop off of it. 1 in 3, not great odds to find three non-lands. And yeah, I don't really think we're realistically going to hit a 2-drop off of it either, so I think this is just a Foretell and a pass. Is this Mardu? It is. Red, white, black. Okay. Kalane makes a treasure. And offers a trade. I accept your trade, I'm pretty sure. I don't really care. Malakia Rebirth. Wowee. Alright. It's pretty good. More lands. That's actually about as bad as it could be. So, into hand is going to be... We got Pest Summoning, right? Yeah. I don't want the land at all. But the Exile's going to have to be a land, so it's whether I want Field Trip or Quandrix Cultivator. What are my lesson options? It's just Mascot Exhibition at this stage. So, hand, bottom, Exile. Play the Forest, pass the turn. Could sweep next turn if they play anything relevant. They use their treasure though, so I don't really see Goldspan Dragon being a thing. Oh my goodness. That is kind of absurd. So next turn they get to play Goldspan into iWitch. Hi Twitch. Hi chat. I see you. Well, I just want them to commit a little bit more into my sweeper then. Let's just block on the ground a little bit so we don't hemorrhage as much life. Let's grab an island, because field trips grab only forests, I think, so I want to thin those out. Put a red source here to threaten a burn spell. And see where they want to go. Their only real option is to go land, and it has to be a red land out of their hand. Goldspan, pump something that's not Goldspan. And then my issue is going to be if they play iTwitch and pump up the Goldspan Dragon, which honestly is likely to be where they put it, then I don't get my sweeper off for full value. Beautiful. Actual god tier. I think they made their land drop, so now I just Battle of Frost and Fire and I get a 3-for-1. Or a 3-for-2. Not too bad. Let's swing first. Just checking. It's worth a look. Alright. And red to pretend to be a burn spell again. So they gain counters whenever they cast spells, but they're going to have to cast some spells first before they get any of their creatures. So they could do like Pest Summoning and then play something to pump a pest, or maybe the other way around. Either way, we're kind of just like shutting off the third chapter a little bit, and that's where I'm most excited. X2. 2 creatures, 2 or less. Pretty good. Could they not get a Kalane that way? Return up to 2 target creature cards with total mana value 2 or less. It's how that is worded, right? Shatterskull Smashing's nice. As is Magma Opus, honestly. So I'm going to put them in that order. I'm going to play my land. Going to take an extra turn. And foretell this Epiphany. Magma Opus is going to draw me a hell of a lot of cards here. And sweep the board. So 3 and 1. Tap, tap. Doesn't really matter. Draw 2, discard. Going to get rid of the land. Another Epiphany. Fantastic. And another sweeper. Also quite nice. Stick this on. Yeah, stick it on blue. Not sure it matters. So we're at 11, but I think our board state is going to be significantly better considering we get it for 3 turns straight next turn. Mascot Exhibition. So we can take care of a couple of creatures here with a Shatterskull Smashing. This leaves me with how much? This will be an X2 Shatterskull. So it's 2 damage divided. It's not really what we want. I think we need to do X6. And then it's going to be this one so they can't block and trade. And honestly, I think it's just that. Oh, they're all 6, right? Now I can swing. They can trade a 2-1 for a 1-1 if they want. Which they did. Happy to see that. Down to 13. Not really afraid of anything. The worst thing they could do is gold span me, and then they're not blocking next turn. Professor Onyx. Sure. It's greatest power on the minus, right? Yeah, greatest power. Totally fine. This hits each Planeswalker as well. So, can I do both? This would leave me with 3, 4 mana. I couldn't do both. I think this is still worth doing. Oh, I'm such an idiot. I should be swinging first. My motivation's withered. 1 to my face. Yeah, I missed the point of damage there. That was silly of me. And this costs 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 short of that as well. Now we take an extra turn. Forgot about my extra land drop. Forgot about a lot of things, as it turns out. Scry 3. Field trip to the bottom. This order's fine for me, I think. Gonna play a land. Take an extra turn. One point short of getting the Hall of the Storm Giants going, but now I get to activate it here. And that's lethal. Yeah, a little bit of sloppy play, but extra turn spells are broken. I don't know if you've noticed. Yeah, I'm of the opinion, especially after playing this deck. I was of the opinion before playing it, and I'm certainly of the opinion now, that this card, if the Book of Exalted Deeds gets banned on a basis that it's very frustrating to play against, and Auron's Epiphany should take the bullet for the exact same thing. It is such an absurd card. If it didn't even give you bird tokens, I actually might have been fine with it, but yeah, the fact that it puts bodies on board, allows your currently established board state to thrive, and also just basically draws you a card or makes you another land drop. All of those things, like, however minimal, they all add up, and the more they add up, the worse it gets. And, you know, more chained together means you're taking 2, then you're taking 4, then you're taking 6. It's, this card, I don't like it. I love extra turn spells, and I love taking turns decks. This is not the format where this card should exist. My opinion, of course. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below, though. I'd love to have a discussion with you upon, as far as this card's concerned. But yeah, I think it needs to get smacked with a very large hammer that makes squeaky noises, I think, something like that. Anyway, if you have enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more content like this in the future. We will be back, I think, with... Oh, I don't know what we're going to be playing next. Might be more standard, might be more brawl. Probably not too much historic, because with the jumpstart around the corner, that format's kind of a little bit dead to me right now, until we get access to all the new cards, which will just shake up the format so much that it doesn't look the same anymore. Just feels weird brewing in historic right now, so we will be taking a little bit of a break from that. So lots of standard 2022, lots of brawl, historic brawl, all of that stuff. But yeah, hope you enjoyed, and take care.